Toxoplasma gondii can infect mammals and birds. It has no unique motility structures, and in fact, is transmitted through an oral fecal route of transmission. Once inside the intestine, the organism migrates through body fluids to the brain and the heart. Once located in the target tissues, such as brain and heart, toxoplasma cells begin to grow and divide by simple binary fission. And yes, there are protozoa that can grow by binary fission. Very simple cell division, increasing in number, forming spherules or little packets of reproducing structures of toxoplasma in the heart and brain tissue. As they grow, they disrupt and interfere with the normal function of that normal tissue in which they're growing, thus causing some of the types of symptoms that we would expect to see when we have heart damage or damage to heart muscle, myocardium, and damage to central nervous tissue, headaches, dizziness, maybe even seizures. The infective stage of Toxoplasma gondii is an oocyst. Much like any other cyst structure, an oocyst does have a hard outer covering that protects the viable or functional cell structure inside from any severe changes in the environment, and allows the cyst to be transferred from one source to another or from one place to another, retaining its viability or able to reproduce once it lands or winds up in a better environment with more moisture and nutrients. Should the oocyst be ingested during pregnancy, there are severe problems or complications that can occur. Along with having an affinity for heart and brain or central nervous tissue, Toxoplasma also has an affinity, or what's called a trophism, for fetal neural tissue as well. So this parasite will migrate toward or have an affinity for central nervous tissue, whether it's in an adult, a child, or a fetus. We can see on the images in the top right photo of the radiograph or X-ray image of the brain of the affected person that there's something, a mass that's very abnormal in the right hemisphere of the brain. As it turns out, on final or further diagnosis or investigation, this abnormal mass turned out to be a growth of toxoplasma. And so you can clearly see, at least in this example, how much damage toxoplasma can cause in the brain of, let's say, a human being. The same thing is true in heart tissue. If it continues to grow and displace normal heart tissue, as illustrated in the photo in the bottom right-hand corner. And that's why oftentimes during pregnancy, expecting moms or potential new moms are encouraged to either not change and clean the litter box, or if they have to, if there's no other recourse other than have them come close to a potential source of toxoplasma, which is actually fairly rare, but of course you wouldn't want to be that one rare individual that contracts or picks up the parasite. Pregnant women are often asked to either not clean the kitty litter box, or if they do, be extremely careful to use a no-dust formula, to wear gloves, make sure that there's good disinfectants and cleaning agents, and just be sure that there's no possible way for the transmission of this potential pathogen from the kitty and the soiling of the cat box to the pregnant mom, because this kind of central nervous tissue damage or brain damage can occur even in the developing brain during pregnancy. Toxoplasma gondii is actually part of a group of microorganisms that cause what we call fetal neurological damage. And TORCH is the acronym that's used for this group of microorganisms. The TO of the word torch represents toxoplasma. The R, the C, and the H actually represent 3 different viruses that are known to cause congenital or damage to the baby during pregnancy. The R is for rubella, the C for cytomegalovirus, and the H for herpes. All are viruses that can cause severe neurological brain damage, toxoplasma being the exception because it's a parasite that can cause severe neurological damage. You can see in the photo on the right-hand side the severe convolutions and the lack of development of the fetal brain in the photo, all due, at least for this example, to Toxoplasma gondii parasite. CMV, herpes, and rubella can also cause similar kinds of neurological damage during pregnancy. Hand washing and thoroughly cooking all meat are both good ways to prevent the transmission of Toxoplasma and any other parasite, particularly when we know that there's a source like a soiled cat box that could hold the parasite in those cat remains or feces. When the Humane Society tested stray cats, 50% of the cats had Toxoplasma in their intestine. Once excreted, only 1% of the parasite survived and remained outside the cat's body, suggesting that drying and changes in temperature are ways to control the spread of the parasite.